Ladies and gentlemen, the 4-year cycle is the basis of all historical Bitcoin price action, going all the way back to the first halving in 2012 back here. The 4-year cycle kicked off, and ever since then, we can develop and we can identify, I should say, many micro trends within the larger trend that is the 4-year cycle. And that's what I've done on this chart right here. So you can see in the top left, I've written down a couple of trends. I've color-coded them with the date range measurements. So for example, we have this red trend right here. There's 1,400 days from top to top within the 4-year cycle. And you can see in the red color-coded kind of date range prediction or date range measurement, I should say, you can see 1,400 days there and 1,400 days there and 1,400 days from November 2021 to the expected top as per the 4-year cycle in October next year. That is when the market is expected to top as per the 4-year cycle, and not only the 4-year cycle, but the election cycle theory and the 18.6-year real estate economic cycle theory, which are both traditional market and macroeconomic trends as well. So there is a large pool of evidence for Bitcoin and financial markets in general topping out late next year. But it doesn't mean it has to top out late next year. It just means there's a large pool of evidence for that. Now, how would we know if that fails? Well, we would know if that fails if we get a clear indication that the macroeconomy is entering a recession, and therefore a clear indication that Bitcoin actually did top at 73K. Now, the problem with that is essentially what I'm saying to you. I'm just going to be straight up. We won't know until it's too late, right? So we can't just trust the 4-year cycle blindly. We have to actually react to the charts, but ideally the trends remain. Ideally the trends continue being our friend until they end, and ideally they don't end this cycle. And ideally we reconnect to the 4-year cycle and go upwards until late 2025. That's the ideal scenario, right? We macro predictability leads to gains. It's not buying or selling that leads to gains. It's not the market pumping or dropping that leads to gains or losses. It's actually predictability, right? Because if you haven't predicted it, you're not in positions, you can't reap the rewards of anything regardless. So the market could go to $200,000 tomorrow, and it wouldn't mean much if we couldn't predict it, right? Predictability equals gains. And that's why the 4-year cycle is so important, because it gives us macro predictability, and hence it gives us gains. It gives us the things to rely on so that we can actually justify buying, so that we can make money when the market goes up. Now, everyone knows this by now, but I'm going to tell you, Bitcoin's been acting very, very strange this cycle so far. Usually, and as per 4-year cycle, and hence all the other macro trends I mentioned vaguely, we have a 1,100-day interval from the all-time high to when we break that all-time high. That happened in the last cycle. It happened in the cycle before that. Happened over here as well, 1,100 days. Now this time, the difference is we've only seen about 850 days from the all-time high in November to the all-time high break in March, right? So we're about 250 days ahead of schedule there. We moved upwards 250 days too soon. And this, I think, could be one of the reasons, or at least the bullish explanation, for why we're seeing such extensive consolidation right now, right? We moved upwards way too quick, partially because of the ETF scenario, partially because probably a lot of people recognize the 4-year cycle as a thing, and hence they front run it. And now we're seeing extensive consolidation, much longer than what we usually see at this part of the cycle, especially given the price region we're in. And that consolidation could be so that we get back on track to where we are meant to be as per the 4-year cycle. Because remember what I said just then, right? We broke upwards above all-time highs 250 days earlier than we previously have expected, historically speaking. Therefore, we were actually meant to break all-time highs. If we're taking the 4-year cycle at face value, we were meant to break all-time highs around November, right? Instead, we did it in March. Now, it's a massive front run right there. Now, of course, there is margin for error. So let's just say there's a 1-month margin for error. So we should have broken all-time highs around October through to December. So any time in October, realistically, if we were to come upwards, if we were on Bitcoin to break the descending channel formation and reach an all-time high once again, if we were to break the descending wedge formation on the RSI and breach upwards and hence break the channel formation, if Bitcoin was to reach all-time highs again, if that happened in November, October, or December, right, that would be excellent, because it would be an indication that what we previously were way ahead of schedule on the 4-year cycle, we are now right back where we need to be, right? So a lot of people looking at this consolidation, they're getting very, very bored, and they're thinking, oh my God, when will this end? This is so bad. It's not meant to be doing this. But I'm looking at this consolidation and I'm thinking, as long as the stuff doesn't break down, as long as we don't break the channel, as long as we don't break the wedge, as long as we don't break these yellow lines, which offer us massive support, this is actually good news. because we're getting back on track to where we are meant to be. And we know that if we get back on track of the 4-year cycle, right, we will gain that macro predictability once more. So perhaps getting upwards this high this soon was just a deviation, and now we're kind of resettling that deviation, getting back to where we need to be. That would be the bullish scenario right now. That's what I'm hoping is happening. And it does indeed look like that is what is happening. Now, obviously, if you open the charts tomorrow and we've broken downwards and crashed downwards below all these yellow lines and we're below 47K, then you can disagree with me, and I'll disagree with myself. I'll happily step away from that. But right now, I'm telling you, it does not look too bad for that reason. The reason being, we could be getting back on track here. Now, I can't sit here and lie to you. I'm nervous. I'm not massively bullish in the market right now. I'm not sitting here buying altcoins, certainly. I'm not touching altcoins here. And I don't even have massive amounts of Bitcoin. I'm actually very much on the sidelines right now, because even though I'm hoping for this bullish scenario, I understand that we need bullish confirmation first. So I'm actually waiting for the channel itself to break. I'm waiting for this theory to be confirmed before I act on it overly, because right now I do understand that although we seem to be getting back on track, the fact that we deviated in the first place is quite unsettling, right? So I'm taking a cautious approach, and that's what I personally would be doing if I was in your shoes, but I can't tell you what to do. You guys need to do what you need to do. Now, as for when you get back into Bitcoin, for me personally, it would be above the channel formation itself, maybe even at the break of this descending wedge in the weekly chart, I'd start buying back a little bit, but for the most part, it'd be breaking above the channel itself, and depending on when that occurs and depending on what the macro economy looks like when it occurs, but that's what I'm looking for. As for altcoins, okay, I would not be interested in altcoins at all, really, until altcoins break into a downwards trend, until Bitcoin dominance, I should say, breaks into a downwards trend. Bitcoin dominance, the chart that measures the strength of Bitcoin in relation to altcoins, is still very much uptrending, okay? In fact, it's not only just uptrending, it actually broke above a resistance line starting from 2020, right? A 4-year resistance line broke to the upside there. So it's more than uptrending, it's breaking upwards actively, which means that Bitcoin is still the dominant force in the market. Bitcoin is still gaining dominance against altcoins. It does seem to be stagnating here a little bit, which actually is quite reassuring, because it means that it could flip back downwards, and if it does flip back downwards, that would coincide with the start of an altcoin season, and then we can start to be interested in altcoins. But as for what I said before, Bitcoin needs to break upwards for me to be interested in Bitcoin. Altcoins, as for altcoins, Bitcoin we need to break upwards as well, because the market as a whole would need to be in a good position. But also, Bitcoin dominance would need to reverse downwards, and the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap, which is the altcoin market cap, would need to break upwards. So if all 3 of those things occur, then altcoins become viable again. But until then, they're not, right? Now, if we do see a bull market, if we fast forward 2 months from now and we see Bitcoin on all-time highs again, and everything indicates that the 4-year cycle is still intact, I do expect an altcoin season to begin at some point. It's just a matter of identifying when that will occur. And, if we are going to see a regular 4-year cycle, okay, we can expect a top on the market as a whole in October 2025, October next year, and we can do something quite interesting here as to predicting when altcoin season will begin. We can go ahead and take a look at when altcoin seasons began in the prior cycles and how long they lasted until the Bitcoin top. So the altcoin season began back here, okay, in the first cycle, in the first recorded cycle in January 2017. It lasted 300 days until Bitcoin, hence the market topped, okay. In the following cycle, it lasted 300 days again, and all of a sudden, we've got a trend here, okay. We haven't got 3 data points, but given the broader cyclical trends, we can just establish a trend here already, even with 2 data points. If it was to take 300 days again, given the fact that Bitcoin would be topping roughly in October, we can expect an altcoin season to begin in something like late November, right? So that's what I'd be looking for. If we were to see the bullish scenario, Bitcoin going upwards, everything being saved, reconnecting to the 4-year cycle, macroeconomic pressures going out the window, we could expect an altcoin season to begin around late November and stem all the way through into next October. So there would be a significant period of time there for gains on altcoins and on Bitcoin, but on assets in general. So fingers crossed, right? I do still believe in the dream at this point. I'm not willing at this point to throw the 4-year cycle out the window like a lot of people are. I need to see direct evidence that it's actually gone. And that direct evidence, again, would come in the form of structural breakdowns. I just don't think we've seen the structural breakdowns yet. So for me to discount the 4-year cycle entirely would be irrational, especially considering how much we've done to get back on track with it potentially. So we need to see the break upwards. I'm not massively bullish, but I'm sitting here and I'm saying there is hope. And I think that's what a lot of people need to hear right now. So I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and check out our exchanges. the Bitfinex exchange, the BingX exchange. Now, these are both exchanges that have never been hacked before, okay? They're also global non-KYC, so you can sign up from anywhere in the world, and you don't even have to link your identity to these exchanges. You can literally sign up from anywhere in the world, no identity required to link, and they're also getting 15% trading fee discounts with my referral link down below. If you sign up and use my link down below, you will get a 15% trading fee discount for life on every single buy and every single sell you make on these exchanges. So use my links down below to sign up. I appreciate that, and you won't regret it. Also check out the VIP group on Telegram. On Telegram, I trade altcoins 4 times a week, and I post those trading signals to the community, okay? So you will get those trading signals. And those trading signals, over the course of the last 2 years of posting them, have a 78.39% win rate, which is exceptionally good. It's all there in a public PDF document. You can go and take a look. I'm very transparent with my results for a reason, because I know they're good, and you can see that as well. So check that out if you're interested. And 2 more things, one of them being the Become a Trader 10-unit course teaching you how to trade. If you want trading education, this is where you can get it. It's on sale right now. Check out the website and read up about that course if you're interested. And the last thing I'll mention is my second channel, JS Quinn, where I post podcast content on philosophy, politics, history, everything in that regard. So check out those titles and see if you're interested in any of those videos. If you are, it's JS Quinn. Go subscribe. I appreciate that as well. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you tomorrow.